Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I've been meaning to make a tutorial for these cargo pants. I'm going to attach the picture on the screen, but the problem is yarn. Those pants take a lot of yarn, and I thought I was going to get an order for it so that I can do the tutorial, but I think I just made like halfway and just finished it on the side because it takes a long time to make, and it was like a quick order, so I wasn't able to complete the tutorial. But today someone ordered cargo pants in cream, sorry, skirt, a cargo skirt, and they requested that I design it in a way that I designed the pants. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just try and mix and explain both in this one video. I don't know, I might either just do the cargo skirt as a tutorial on its own, or I might do both and just explain. So we'll see how the tutorial goes. But for this tutorial, of course, I'm going to need my yarn. I'll be doubling my strands, a pair of scissors, and a 2.5mm hook. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by making a waistband, and this waistband, when you're making it, you're not going to stretch it, and you're going to make the exact, sorry, you're going to make it as your hip measurement. So you're going to start by making a slip knot. Just yarn over like this. This goes on top, and then pull through. This also applies for the pants. So if you're making the pants, you're going to make a waistband that is also going to be your hip area without stretching. So you're going to chain 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're going to just hold this chain 1, 2, yarn over, go into this right here. You'll have 3 left, and you're going to pull through all 2, and you're going to yarn over, go into this space right here, pull through. You have 3, pull through like that, and you're going to do it until you get to the very end of this. So here I'm at the end. I'm just going to go into that like that, and this is going to be just a repetitive. I think if you watch some of my tutorials, I've done this waistband so many times, so I'm just going to try and make it quick. So you're going to chain 2, turn your work around, and you're going to go into this, like this part here in the middle. You're going to yarn over. You're going to do that with a half double crochet, go into this spot right here, pull. You're going to do it until the very end, until you get here, also this part here right here, and then after you're going to do chain 2, and then you're just going to repeat it, and you're going to do this until you get to the what, to the length of your hip measurement. I don't know if I said waist or hip, but I meant hip measurement. This chain, this waistband is just going to, you're going to make sure it's the exact length of your hip measurement. So I'll meet you when I'm done with my waistband, of the hip measurement. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible because there's so many details into it. So when you're done with that, I'll meet you, and then I'll show you how to join and what to do next. So here I'm adding the last row of our waistband, and I'm going to show you how I join. This is really, to be honest, this is a very simple tutorial to follow and to make. So when you're done, you're going to just chain 1 and attach it to the measuring tape and see how it fits on just to measure, like make sure it's the same length as your hip measurement when you stretch it. So this is how I join. I just make sure that I align them together, and I'm going to go into that stitch with the matching one on the other side of the waistband with a slip stitch, and I'm going to do that until I get to the very end. I'm sorry I wasn't focusing on the camera, but just you can do a slip stitch or a single crochet until you get to the end. So when you're done, you're going to chain one, and you're going to go into every stitch with single crochets. I'm sorry that this portion of the tutorial really wasn't showing. I did not focus very much on what I'm working on, because usually I don't tend to look at the camera, but I focus on what my hands are doing. So I think this is why it wasn't really showing, but this is the only part where it was really off. But what you're going to do is you're going to just make single crochets until you get to the very end, and to finish it off you're just going to go into the top and then finish it with a slip stitch. Then you're going to chain 3, turn your work around, and where we put our single crochets you're just going to go into every single stitch with a double crochet, and you're going to do this until you get to the very end. So here this is like the last double crochet that I'm making. So you go on top of the very third stitch of our chain 3, and you're going to go into that with a slip stitch. And this is how we are going to make our tutorial. So because our the waistband is the same length as our hip measurement, for this particular tutorial I did not do any increases, but I just made the skirt, like I just continued and made a length of the skirt that I wanted, because it's going to be a very short mini skirt. So you just continue with the same. So here I'd made the length of the skirt that I wanted. Like I just made a couple rows. You can measure yourself, because I wanted it to be mid thighs, and that's what I did. So that's basically like the skirt that we made, like just that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to attach the pockets. So for one of the side pockets you're just going to make a chain of about 15 to 20, depending on how long you want your pockets to be. If you want something big, you can make like you can make around 25 to 30, a chain of 25 to 30 stitches. But as you can see here, I was trying to see how long I wanted it. I think I made around 25. So after that you're just going to go back and make double crochets in every single stitch of the chain that you've made. So you're going to make double crochets until you reach to the very end, and once you get to the end you're just going to chain 3, turn your work around, and then just keep going. Just make a long square or rectangle kind of stitch for your pocket, and that's what I did here. And you're going to do this twice. So here I'm at the very end of my stitch of the chain that I made. So I'm just going to chain 3. I'll turn my work around and then I'll go into every single stitch with double crochets, and this is how you're just going to keep doing until you get to the length of the pocket that you want. So as you can see, I'm done with this part of the pocket. So to just end our row, I'm going to chain 1 and then cut it off. And you're going to do the second part, which is just the same thing that we made, like the same part, the same square rectangle kind of like thing. For the pockets, you're going to do that twice. So this is the back part of the pocket. So after making the back part of the pocket, what we're going to do next, you're going to make a longer chain. Let's say if you made the first chain of your pocket to be 25, you're going to make a longer chain of like 30, and this is going to be like on top of the pocket. You're going to I think towards the end you'll see what I'm trying to say, but you're going to make this part, it's going to be the part that's going to go up on the pocket, like the closing, how you have pockets with closing parts. I think as you can see on the picture of the thumbnail, or on how on how the pockets look like. So this is what we're going to make. You're going to make a longer chain. If you made like 25, a chain of 25 for one side of the pocket, you're going to make something longer, like 30 chains, and you're just going to do the double crochets that we made, which is you're going to go around the chain with double crochets until you get to the very end. So for the front pocket, what I did is I made one granny square. There's so many tutorials out there for granny squares, so you can either follow that or you can do what I was doing here. So you start by making a ring. I keep forgetting the names of these things, but you're going to, so what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3, go into that circle or the ring that we made with 2 double crochets, and then chain 1, go into the same ring or circle that we have made with 3 more double crochets, then chain 1, go into the same circle with again 3 double crochets, chain 1, go into the same circle with 3 more double crochets. Then you're going to just pull it so that it's just like you're going to pull like that. Then chain 1, and you're going to go into the very third stitch of our chain 3 with a slip stitch, and the 2 double crochets that we started making, you're going to go into them with slip stitches, and then in the middle, in that chain 1 space, so you're going to chain 3, go into that chain 1 space with 2 more double crochets, then chain 1 and go into the space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip the 3 double crochets in the chain 1 space. You're going to just go into it with 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and you're going to do this all round. I'm just going to attach, I think, a very easy tutorial to follow for how to make the granny square like this, so you can find an easier to follow and detailed tutorial in the description box. So when you're done, what you're going to do is on the very third stitch of the chain 3 that we made, you're going to just go into that with a slip stitch, and in the 2 double crochets that you've made, you're going to go into it with a slip stitch, and then also the chain 1 space that you made, you're going to go into that with a slip stitch. Then you're going to chain 3 and just repeat what we did: 2 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, then chain 1. So in every chain 1 space that we have, you're going to just put, like here between the 2 corners, you're just going to put 3 double crochets and then chain 1, and then go into, like, where we have, as you can see, where we have like the midpoint, you're just going to put 3 double crochets. So in the corners, you're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. In the middle, you're just going to put 3 double crochets, then chain 1, and just continue. So basically that's like the whole tutorial, as you can see here. So I'm going to just do the same. I did 1, 2, 3, so where, as you can see here, where we have the 3 double crochets in the middle, you're putting 1 double crochet, and then at the sides in the corners, that's when you have 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. I got some buttons, but I did not attach them on the picture because it did not match. But if you want to attach buttons, you can attach them. If you don't want, you can just not attach them. So just like as we did at the back, it's what we're going to do on the front. Like that, you make a very long chain, longer than the granny square, and then you just do double crochet. You just go through it, go back to it with a double crochet, and then this is going to be like the covering of our granny squares. So the granny squares act as pockets. You can just do any design of the granny square that you want, and they will act as pockets. So here I'm just making that long chain that is going to cover the granny square, like the top part of the pockets. I think I'm going to explain more while I'm sewing all of it together, like all the parts together. So you're just going to make 2 granny squares, 2 squares, and then 4 of that longer chain, like longer than the pocket. So you're going to just grab your needle, the sewing needle, because as you can see here, I made like long chains. Just any, you can make a long chain of like 50 or 40. Just make a lot of them, because you're just going to place them anywhere around around our skirt, as you can see, as I did here. So you're just going to make like a chain of like 20, no 20 is very short, a chain of like 50, 60, 70, just separate. You just make a chain, cut it off, make a chain, cut it off, and it's just going to be like the design that we're going to attach on the skirt. As you can see how I've aligned it here. Please ignore the middle part. I was trying to make maybe a zip line, like a zip on the front of the skirt, but it really didn't come out so well, so just ignore it. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab my buttons, because the buttons did not match with the color of the skirt, I did not really put them at the finishing. But if you can get like black buttons, or the wooden kind of buttons, just those designs, you can attach them and they'll really look good. If you don't want, you can ignore them. If you want, you can attach them. So I grabbed the long chains that I made and just made that small like thing and then sewed the buttons on it. And make sure that it's attached. So that's what you're going to do for all the other parts in case you want the buttons. If you don't want, just skip this part and go into the next. And I think one thing that I forgot to mention was when you're making like the covering of the pockets, you have to make sure that there are three double crochets, like 3 parts, and then the beginning part, like the beginning chain that we made is the one that's going to face up, and then the ending part is going to face the pocket. I hope that really makes sense. I know this tutorial is all over the place. I did it in sort of like a hurry and I did not have time to like sit down and edit. I'm just doing a voiceover. So when you're done attaching the buttons, what we're going to do next is you're going to sew the pocket onto our skirt. And how you sew it, you're not going to sew the middle part. You're just going to do side and the upper part. I really hope that makes sense. You can see this is where we started making our chain. So make sure you turn it and then you're just going to attach on the very highest point of the skirt close to the waistband. So you're going to sew the sides, as you can see, just around that and then to the side. Just don't sew the middle part, so you're just going to do both sides and then the upper part. So that's how it's going to be. And for our granny squares, what we're also going to do is you're going to sew that side to the other side to that side, so that in the middle it's just going to be like a pocket. So you're just going to do the sides, don't do the front part. So that's going to be like the pocket. So it's going to be, I think it really makes sense because I'm trying my level best to add to explain. So I divided my granny squares. One side of the granny square I put it on the front and then the other one at the back, just to give it like a little bit of fashion or design or something like that. So it's the same thing you're going to do for the side. You're going to just sew on the side and then you're going to attach the pocket. This is what I was explaining by adding the zip, but I did not put it at the end, so we can just ignore that. So what you're going to do next is you're just going to make a chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to make a chain. You're going to chain 6 and then you're going to chain 3 more, and then on the 6th stitch you're just going to go into it with double crochets. So you're going to make a very long chain of like double crochets like this. So you're going to do double crochets until you get to the very end, and then when you get to the end you're just going to chain 3 and you walk around, go into every stitch with double crochets. Then when you get to the end, you chain 3 and you're just going to make a very long chain, because this is going to go from the middle of your skirt to the back, so that the design, I think I'm going to attach the image at the side, but the design that we are making, so it's going to be a very long chain, and it's what we are going to attach on the side, not on the side, like from the middle part up to the back part. So as you can see here, I'd already finished sewing the parts, and then I made very many different long chains. So This one, it's just what's going to you're going to attach it to your waistband. And just, this is how I do it. So I think the easiest way is you count 3 front, and then you go into that third one, and then you count 1, 2, 3, like front, back, just counting 3, 3. Then when you're done with the waistband, here I'm just showing you how to finish it. Let's say when you're done with it, so you're just going to grab the other long the long chain of double crochets that we made. So that, and you're going to sew it in the middle. And the long chain, you're going to make it twice. You'll do it 2 times. So one will run on that left side, and then the other one on the right side. So you'll sew them, and the long chains that we made, you're just going to attach them around the pockets. As you can see, I think I'm going to attach the video of the skirt, like me in the skirt, at the very end of this, so that you can see how I just placed the long chains that we made. So here you attach it where our seam line is, and you're just going to sew, and you're going to do it twice, like on this side of the skirt and the other side of the skirt. So at the back, as you can see, I was just attaching the long chains that I made. You can just tie them around. So here we have the 2 pockets, and then that's the front. As you can see at the corners and the sides, I just attached the chains that I made. So that's basically it for this tutorial.